First at 4, we've got dry skies going into a holiday weekend, but the coldest part of the forecast is not even here yet. We'll look at just how low those numbers are going to get. Karen?
Also, first at 4, firefighters rushed to a home in Warren. Police say they uncovered something much more disturbing than a fatal fire. And a showdown in the U.S. Senate over the riots on Capitol Hill. Did Mitch McConnell get what he wanted? Those stories and more start now, first at 4.
Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Karen Drew. First at 4, rain, flooding, and a May chill. The Memorial Day weekend is getting off to a really messy start. We just had a crew over in Gibraltar. Water is pouring into low-lying property lawns and roads near the shoreline. Wayne and Monroe counties are under a lakeshore flood warning through 4 a.m. tomorrow. Wind and rain also helped knock down a big tree branch in the west side of Detroit. Take a look at that mess. A woman was backing out of her driveway when that limb tumbled onto her car. She was shaken up. Good news is, though, she is okay. We are having a crew talking to her about the ordeal. You'll hear her story tonight at 5. Meantime, Ben Bailey tracking the current conditions in the first forecast. It was one of those days you just wanted to stay under the covers.
Yeah, dreary start to what could have been a 4-day holiday weekend for a lot of us. But Karen, those gusts here on the east side were the story. They got as high as 35, 36 miles per hour there in Mount Clemens, and the direction was all coming out of the northeast. So you saw that video out of Gibraltar pushing a lot of that water onshore. Even though lake levels have gone down significantly since last year at this time, they're still high enough to obviously cause some problems. Even right now, we've got wind gusts 25, close to 30 miles per hour, and that flood warning does remain in effect for Wayne and Monroe County until 4 a.m. tomorrow. We'll see much lighter winds tomorrow, but the coldest of the forecast is coming tonight. Temperatures will be relatively steady in the mid-40s through midnight, but starting tomorrow morning, we've got wind chills that are going to be in the 30s. They're your highs going through Monday. We'll talk about the rain chances possibly for tomorrow in just a few minutes. Karen?
All right, thank you, Ben. Police and fire investigators are both looking into a mysterious fire in the city of Warren. The call came in about 6:30 this morning on the 31,000 block of Fairfield Drive. That's near 13 Mile and Shaner. Firefighters found 2 bodies inside. Police say it looks like a 37-year-old man shot his 32-year-old girlfriend in the head, set the fire, and then shot himself. We've got a crew gathering more information about the crime, also talking to some of the neighbors there. Our coverage continues when you join us at 5. Michigan Congresswoman Debbie Dingell has been released from the hospital 1 week after surgery for a perforated ulcer. She released a statement saying doctors have warned her to be careful for the next 2 weeks. The House Democrat will be trying to pace herself, working virtually when possible. She's also thanking everyone who offered their encouragement as well as support. Governor Gretchen Whitmer has failed to stop several petitions seeking her recall from office. The Michigan Court of Appeals has ruled the people behind those efforts can move forward. The recall petitions involve the governor's use of emergency powers and mandates during the COVID pandemic. The Board of Canvassers initially approved 7 petitions targeting Whitmer and Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist, but one has already been abandoned. New at 5, we're going to take a look at what comes next, including a possible appeal from the governor. Well, you definitely need a scorecard to keep up with the changes in the COVID rules and the regulations. We'll have more on that in just a moment, but first, the state of Michigan reporting 614 new cases of COVID-19 in the past 24 hours. We have seen an additional 24 deaths. Meantime, the CDC is easing guidance for summer camps, saying vaccinated adolescents do not need to wear face masks, and even younger children who cannot be vaccinated can usually shed the masks when outdoors. On the other hand, the Homeland Security Department says the government is now taking a very close look at the possibility of vaccine passports for travel into and out of the United States. We'll keep you posted. Chief James Craig welcomes his final graduating class to the Detroit Police Department. 19 Police Academy students were officially made DPD officers during today's virtual swearing-in ceremony. One by one, each officer was sworn in. Chief Craig is set to retire next Tuesday after 44 years in law enforcement. He didn't reveal anything on his future plans today, but he offered the new officers some words of encouragement.
Rely on your training. Have faith that it will serve you well. I have faith that even if after I leave this great organization, You and the executive team here with us will continue to uphold the highest standards of this department and lead the Detroit Police Department with honor and dignity.
This is the 6th class of new recruits to graduate this year. They will now be given their precinct assignments and will be able to start patrolling. Senate Republicans have blocked efforts to create a bipartisan panel to study the January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. Well, 6 Republicans crossed party lines. It wasn't enough. Local 4's Jason Colthorpe in the newsroom with the final vote as well as reaction. Jason.
Yeah, Karen, the bill had passed the House with the support of nearly 36 Republicans, but Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell made it clear he did not want this bill to get out of the Senate, and it didn't. In the end, the vote was 54-35, short of the 60 needed to move the House bill forward. 11 senators missed the rare Friday vote, some claiming they did have scheduling conflicts. The panel was designed to dig into how the Capitol attack happened, similar to the 9/11 Commission that investigated the terror attacks in 2001. The 6 Republicans who voted in favor of the bill included Mitt Romney of Utah, Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, Rob Portman of Ohio, Ben Sasse of Nebraska, Susan Collins of Maine, and Lisa Murkowski of Alaska. The Senate's top Democrat clearly frustrated.
We all know what's going on here. Senate Republicans chose to defend the big lie because they believe anything that might upset Donald Trump could hurt them politically. We've all lived through the horrors of January 6th. I was no further than 30 feet from those white supremacist hooligans. Do my Republican colleagues remember that day?
Republicans have called the commission too partisan and have also argued there are several ongoing investigations into the riots already. Today's vote is reviving Democratic pressure to do away with the filibuster, a Senate tradition that requires 60 votes to advance a bill instead of a simple majority. Karen, we do have much more coming up on all of this, and we'll do that at 5 o'clock when we see you next.
All right. Thank you, Jason. Russian cyber spies are striking once again. Microsoft says the state-backed hackers behind the SolarWinds campaign have now attacked new targets. This new spear phishing effort targeted about 3,000 email accounts at more than 150 different organizations in the U.S. and other countries. Microsoft did not give a number of successful intrusions, but says most were blocked by automated systems as spam. The company is notifying any customers that may have been affected. Memorial Day weekend is about much more than just a day off. It is set aside to honor the men and women who died while serving their country. Today, a World War II survivor is sharing a story that sounds like it could be turned into a movie. Local 4's Sandra Ali introduces us to the Ritchie Boys, their mission, and their memories of wartime heroes.
He's a member of an elite group, German-born Jews who fled their homeland, came to the United States, and then joined the U.S. Army. They're known as the Ritchie Boys, and one of them, 99-year-old Guy Stern, is one of them who's still around to share his story.
Guy Stern is a few months shy of celebrating his 100th birthday, with no plans of slowing down anytime soon. Stern, along with a group of young men, mostly German Jews, played a key role in helping allies win World War II. They trained at a top-secret military intelligence center in Camp Ritchie, Maryland.
What we did should receive some acknowledgement. There is a slander frequently spread about Jews, that they are not ready to go to combat. And we did. And the whole group of us did.
For decades, the Ritchie Boys didn't discuss what they did during the war, until now. Stern details some of the events of his remarkable life, including his escape from Nazi Germany in a recent memoir titled Invisible Ink.
We're constantly being shot at out of fortifications right on top of those cliffs. I looked where those German soldiers were safely ensconced, and I said to myself, it can't be done.
Stern says the Ritchie Boys don't like being called heroes. They were soldiers doing their job. They had a war to fight, he says, and they did it.
The term hero belongs to the infantry in those days and the Rangers. I had to march the German soldiers to the evacuation point where they went again on trucks, were put on ships and mostly shipped to England and the United States.
While some memories have faded through the years, others have stayed with him. While Stern got out, his parents, younger brother, and sister had been forced from their home, deported, and later killed. Losing his family haunts him to this day.
When I got confirmation that all my family had been deported to Poland and had perished there, it certainly wakes me up.
So it still haunts you. Time doesn't heal, right?
No, not in that sense.
Guy Stern says the remaining Ritchie boys all still keep in touch. In fact, he says they love to share old stories about a piece of American history finally being shared. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Sandra. And aside from Guy Stern, there are several other prominent Ritchie boys. It turns out author J.D. Salinger was a Ritchie boy. So was Archibald Roosevelt, grandson of Theodore Roosevelt, as well as philanthropist David Rockefeller. Still ahead, first at 4. It is always the biggest question after a mass shooting. Why did it happen? We have new information this afternoon on a possible motive and chilling new video of the gunman in San Jose. Another sign of trouble for the Summer Olympics. Japan just took new action to fight COVID-19. And later, a shopping perk making a comeback. But you'll notice some changes over at Costco. We'll explain. First at 4 continues.